Hello. Welcome. I'm Lindsay Michelson.
And I'm Haley Ozma, and we're assistant producers for this year's fashion show. We'd like to thank our co-sponsor, Committees on Lectures program, funded by GSB, for making this all possible tonight.
Also, we would like to let you know that following the show, the exhibit in the Mary Alice Gallery called Weddings in the Heartland, Apparel Tradition Memories, an exhibit representing a century of wedding fashions from 1897 to a gown from Matthew's 2009 collection, will be open later tonight for the visitors from this little lecture. It's in the Textiles and Clothing Museum, Mary Alice Gallery, located in 1015 Morrill Hall, and will be open until 8 p.m. tonight.
All right. Please help us in welcoming Matthew Christopher as he joins us from New York City to speak about his journey from Iowa State University to the Big Apple. Matthew Christopher is Chief Designer and Creative Director for Matthew Christopher Incorporated, a bridal fashion house and manufacturer. His gowns are currently available in more than 70 boutiques and are regularly featured in publications such as Inside Weddings, Martha Stewart Weddings, The Knot, TheKnot.com, and Modern Bride. Matthew studied at the Art Institute of Chicago and Iowa State University before creating his own label at age 26.
It is with great honor to have such a successful designer and alum here to support. Okay, on that note, it is such an honor to have such a successful designer and alum here to support the Iowa State Fashion Show. So without further ado, please help me welcome Matthew Christopher and his assistant, Jesse.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Thank you. Jesse, after you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. How are we? Oh, we got a little feedback going on. Can we hear me okay? Everybody got me okay? How is everyone? Great. I'm so happy to be here at Iowa State. I haven't been back since 1999, so it's kind of very exciting to kind of see how much things have changed here at Iowa State, and to be with all of the students today and to inspire them, hopefully, to get a fire started under them. Anyway, well, I'm Matthew Christopher, and this is Jessie Lyon, my assistant. My mother is in the front row over here. Sandy Saboski, she's waving. I have one of my very, 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 very dear friends, Lou Miller, who taught me how to sew, sitting right here, right next to my mom. Anyway, I'm just going to give a little bit of a story about how I got started in this business and how my life kind of unraveled. I grew up in a town, not even in a town, in a small little area in southeast Iowa called Packwood, Iowa. Grew up on a pig farm where my dad used to grow about 1,500 head of pigs a year, I believe. Well, yeah, I think so, right, Mom? I was one of three children, the middle child. I'd say the Jan Brady. Look at my hair. No, I'm joking. It was a very interesting family situation. I had an older brother, really great football player. I had a younger sister, amazing basketball player, and then there's me, this very creative, artistic person that showed up in their lives. Anyway, what I say was really great is that when I got started as a designer, I guess I got started as a designer when I was probably 7 or 8. My mother gave me a pair of fashion plates I believe it was one Christmas. And it was one of my most favorite gifts I think I ever got. Fashion plates, if you remember, were those, you take a bodice ahead, and then you take a bodice and you take a skirt and you'd put it on paper and you'd do chalk, and then you would color on top of them and do all kinds of different things with them. So that was kind of how it got started for me. My parents were amazing people. They supported all of us kids, no matter what we were good at, they supported it. I was also a musician, and I sang as a kid, just very creative. A funny story, everybody asks me, I go on trunk shows every weekend across the nation, and the same question appears every weekend. How did you become a bridal gown designer? And I always have some kind of funny, it's always the same answer. Me and Barbie were best friends. best friends. My sister and brother and I had a closet, a conjoining closet, this really cool big closet. And Barbie lived in there. And nobody knew that her and I had a relationship. It was really fun. She had really beautiful clothes, and she had this really great wedding gown. And my mom was kind of describing it to me the other day, and I was just thinking about it. It was this really beautiful lace dress, and it was handmade, and I think my grandmother might have made it. I wasn't sure, but back in the day, Barbie started the whole fascination with what fashion was going to be for myself. So anyway, grew up on the farm, went to Pekin High School. I was in track, cross country, all that good stuff. I was in 4-H as a kid, and I went, I'd go to the fair, and I learned how to sew Bermuda shorts and a shirt. And that actually happened as my mother sent me to the neighbors, to Gwen Mitchell's house or to Adrian Gentry's house, which was a few miles away, which was really interesting. I would go to their home. I think one year we came home with a cat. I remember that. But they did. They ingrained in my mind like the beginning of learning how to construct a garment. They taught me how to sew a simple pair of shorts to a shirt. And I think I kind of lost a little interest at that point. I think I was maybe 9, 10 at that point. And music took over. And so we get to high school. I know I'm kind of going around here a little bit. But we get to high school, and there was a girlfriend at the time that was getting a prom dress made. And I love this moment, Lou. This moment was awesome. So she's getting a prom dress made, and she's like, Matthew, do you want to go with me to Lou Miller's house? She's a very famous person in the Kyoto area that makes everybody's prom dress. You were, Lou. Come on now. So I went over there. It was a really cold January day, and I had been looking through Brides and Modern Bride, and I was like, wow, I love this. Now, this fascination with Brides and Modern Bride had started earlier than that, okay? Much like at 10, right after that, I had been looking at wedding gowns. So I go to Lou's studio. Walk in the door. I was like, oh my God, I have arrived. What the? I'm like, this is amazing. What is this place? There's wedding gowns hanging. There's sewing machine going. Like, it's just beautiful. And Lou and I hit it off immediately. The girlfriend's over in the corner like, what? What's going on over here? Lou and I are like designing her dress. We're like talking about things. And that's when I began my journey of working with Lou, who really gave me some of my other skills of learning how to do evening wear, which was really the direction into going into bridal, which was really cool. So I'd be in high school, I was at track practice. It'd be like 5 o'clock. And I'd be like, see you later. I'm driving to Wellman. Bye. And I would drive, 45 minutes at least just to get to her house. And Lou I'd show up at the door, and I'd go up to her studio, and she would teach me something new every time. And I have to say, like, Lou, thank you so much for that, because look at what's happened. It's insane. It makes me want to cry. Anyway, but really cool. So I started that whole path. Senior year, I made 7 prom dresses. That was crazy. 7 prom dresses, trying to run in track, trying to be in the musical, trying to do this. And I think my brother and I got in a war about 3 o'clock in the morning one night with scissors. He's like, turn off the sewing machine. I was like, I can't. This has got to get finished. So anyway, I was notorious for working late. I was a night owl. Everybody knew I was a night owl. So it was Christmas. It was Christmas of 1994. We're at my grandma Sabosky's house. My last name is Sabosky. And the big family gathering's happening. And this is the year I'm graduating from high school. So I hear my Aunt Mary Jo talking to my parents. And I hear her go, you need to send him to art school. You need to send him somewhere. I was like, yes. And I could just think, I was thinking, yes, the seed has been planted. So the seed was planted. And that was the time that spring I had made a few dresses. I went to the Art Institute in Chicago, which was called Ray Vogue at the time, and now it's an Art Institute in Chicago. Ray Vogue, if you know the bridal business, Ray Vogue is where Lazaro graduated from. Lazaro, very famous bridal gown designer who I looked up to since I was a youngster, graduated from there, and that meant a lot to me. And Lou, I believe you were the one that kind of pointed out Ray Vogue to me. So anyway, went to Ray Vogue for that year, which was the Art Institute, and I was dropped off in Chicago, my first year living in a big city, and I got a little nervous, I think. I think I was a little missing home a little bit, and then I said, I think I need to come back to Iowa. I think I need some more time in Iowa. And I called my parents. I remember having this conversation, and I think they were kind of excited to have me back closer. So I said, hey, let's look at Iowa State. Josh went there in the ag program. I know there's a TC program there, or a clothing program. So I looked into it, sent in my information, and I got accepted. I was like, yes. Because, of course, my grades in high school were like, bleh. But when I was at the Art Institute or Ray Vogue in Chicago, I actually was on the dean's list for the first time in my life. And that was very exciting for me. But I was missing out. I said, I want to go to a big school. I sing, I dance, I want to do theater. I want to make friends of a lifetime, which one of my best friend's moms is out here in the audience. I wish she could be here, but I have a ton of friends in New York that all came from Iowa State, and we all live there now. But I got to Iowa State in '96, and I started in the program here, and all the teachers knew that I was very focused on what I wanted to do. My advisor was Ruth Glock, who has now passed away, and I'm sorry, it makes me a little sad I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to a very, very wonderful woman that helped me. Every week I'd come into her and ask her, how can we get this done quicker? How can we get this done quicker? Because I really, really wanted to be done with school so I could move on with my career. So anyway, my good friends Karen and Bill Evans lived in Bondurant. They let me live with them my first year, and they had a little custom bridal business. She had a little bridal business, and she set up a sewing room where I actually got to sew and create. We did Lincoln High School's show choir dresses in '96. They were like the most beautiful things. They were like 40 pieces, this dress. I will never forget it because I had to make 30 of them. It was insane. It was insane. I mean, my Pfaff sewing machine was, I think, broke at the end of that. But anyway, I was driving back and forth here to Iowa State. I was doing custom wedding gowns for people. I didn't have to work as a waiter or do any other jobs. I would make a couple wedding gowns here or there and make $1,500 to $1,800 on each dress, and I'd maybe do 3 of those at a time. But in 1998, I went to New York. Now, has everybody been to New York in here, or just a few of you, or show of hands? Do we love New York? Yeah, whoop, whoop. Yeah. Anyway, I went to New York. We love New York, don't we, Jesse?
We do.
We do. I went to New York for the study tour, the Iowa State Studies Tour. And I'll never forget, it was my 22nd birthday. 22nd birthday. And I was going to get to spend that in New York City. I set up an interview with Vera Wang, Think Bridal, and I was a very adamant, go-getting type of person. Okay? I'm like, hi, my name's Matthew Saboski. You're going to love me. You're going to love these dresses. I think you need to have me as an intern. So I picked up the phone a million times, called everyone, got these interviews, went and met with a very famous guy named Chet that worked for Vera, who has now passed away. He was an amazing guy. And I got the internship, but I turned it down because they weren't going to let me do any design. It was going to be a runner, and I didn't really want to be a runner. I didn't want to be a runner. I wanted to work in the workroom. So I went to Fink Bridal and met with Gus Marinelli. Gus Marinelli, what a name, what an Italian. Anyway, this really cool guy, he designed for them, and he hired me. I came back to Iowa State really pumped up. I think we did, that year we did Stars Over Visha. I think we did Bye Bye Birdie. Loved it. So I'll get to be in that auditorium. I'll get to be in C.Y. Stevens again with my gowns now on the stage, which will be really cool tomorrow. And I got the internship, came home, got a phone call and right at the end of school, and they closed the company. I was like, oh my God. But I was not going to let that stop me at all. And I got back on the phone, of course, on the phone, because this was an email just started. You know, email was just beginning. You could fax, but I got on the phone and I called Demetrius in New York. I called Sweetheart Bridal. I called Venus. I called these kind of moderate price companies, but Demetrius called me back. I sent them my portfolio. They talked to me on the phone. They hired me sight unseen for the summer for my internship. No pay, but whatever. I was going to be in New York. So anyway, I went to New York that summer, and I was one of the luckiest boys in the world because I got to go into an industry, and I think, Lou, did you come that summer to visit? It might have been the following. Galena was the next. Yeah, Galena. But it was the time when the fashion industry in New York was so cool. Like, there was still fabric, like rolls of fabric going across the streets. There was, like, dresses being pulled out of trucks, being taken up to, like, 1875 Broadway or wherever you were. It was still the mecca of, like, everything was being made there. It was so cool, the energy. You know, I walked down on 7th Avenue, and the big button with the needle going through it, I'm like, I'm here, I've arrived. It was so cool. So I worked there. They let me, Jimmy Elias, who is this crazy Greek guy with long curly hair, he's the owner, a Greek family, really, really famous. Like, he was very famous in the 80s. He was known for the big puff sleeve dress, bass waist with a big, beautiful ball gown, cut out lace. That was his thing. I mean, we're talking major traditional dresses that sold, right, Lou? Yeah. So anyway, I had a great time there. I came back to school that fall, and I had ants in my pants. Did I have ants in my pants? I was like, okay, I've got to get this done. I got to get this done. So I'm working, doing my thing, whatever. You're laughing. But I was really trying really hard to get my credits wrapped up and learn as much as I could in the things that the classes I was taking. And I left here in 1999 for New York, and I started working for a ready-to-wear company called Kazoo. And you know what I was doing? I was putting swatches away. I was doing just crazy, weird, like odd stuff. But I was getting paid. And that was January. And within 3 weeks, found an ad in Women's Wear Daily. Everybody probably knows Women's Wear Daily. If you know the fashion business, Women's Wear Daily is like it comes out it's a fashion newspaper. And this is when you would get the ads and you would look for jobs. And there was a job for a pattern maker for a couture bridal house. I said, oh my God, I gotta call this number now. So I go down to a payphone on the street during lunch. I'll never forget this. Payphone. I was like, where's my quarters? This is like before a cell phone. I'm like trying to find a payphone. I call, the woman picks up, her name is Candace Solomon, one-of-a-kind bride. She made couture dresses that priced up to $20,000, $10,000. Her bread and butter was like a $6,800 to $7,000 dress. Anyway, to get this job, I had to drape a 4-ply silk crepe dress on the bias, double ruffle, off the shoulder, a little bit of a sweetheart with a ruffle on the shoulder, and I had to make it fit her. Oh my God. I was like, are you kidding me? She was intense. So I was like, okay, I called my friend Jared, and Jared is a very famous costume designer in New York City. He actually came here. I met Jared. He came here to Iowa State, and he designed a show, Anything Goes. Okay, and that's how I met Jared. I said, Jared, I need some help. I need to talk to you about, like how I'm going to pull this off. He goes, you know what you're doing. So he came over. We talked. We walked through all the steps. I draped the dress on the form with her measurements, did it all, sewed it up. Okay, now it wasn't a fully lined dress, but it was all cut. I sewed it up, took it to her studio. She had given me the fabric, put it on her. It fit her perfect. Oh my God, I got the job. I was like, yeah. So I got the job, okay? Now, before I got this job, I went and interviewed for Galena. Now, Galena was a huge bridal house, they were around for 55 years. That's where I was heading. I was heading the direction to a well-known company that everybody knew. Well, Galena wasn't ready to hire, and this whole thing came up with Candace, so I took the job. Well, anyway, in the meantime, I made some great friends with Candace. My good friend April Larkin, who I just love, was her salesperson. That's when Rent came out in New York, and it was like the hottest musical. We sang Seasons of Love every day on the cutting table. We were insane. It was great. It was great times. I'll never forget it. And Galena called one day at work, called there, on the house phone. Candace was crazy, okay? I can say this here. It's okay. It's okay, everybody. Don't worry. She's not in business anymore. We don't know where she's at. Anyway, she's crazy. So anyway, that's in a good way. So anyway, I am, the house phone rings, and she says, Cindy's on the phone. I'm thinking, my Cindy Gridy's on the phone. I can't wait to talk to her. Oh, no, it's Janet Peters from Galena. I'm like, what is this woman calling me for here? Oh my God! Oh, I'm like turning 20 shades of red. I'm like ready to like fall apart right there. And anyway, she calls. I go to the bathroom. Candace walks out. I know who just called you. I star 69 that phone call. And I said, oh my God! I was like, okay, well I didn't tell him to call me here, but hey, isn't that cool? Nah, this is terrible. So anyway, needless to say, that weekend I went away probably on my first vacation to Florida ever. Came home, walked in the door. She said, this is your last day, son, and Galena was my next day. They hired me on. So I got fired for the first and last time right then and there and went on to Galena. And that was pretty cool. Anyway, everything works out. God's fun like that, isn't he? So anyway, went to Galena. Galena was awesome. I worked with the pattern maker Martha Babor, and Martha Babor she worked with every designer: Christos, Lazaro, Jim Helm, Judd Wydell. If you know the bridal business, she worked with everybody for 30-some years in this business, and she taught me the world. I was really lucky. Like, I was the last of the Mohicans, we say, the young ones to come into the business back in the day, and I learned about Venice lace, how to cut lace, how to deal with Alençon lace, how to place it on a dress, how to do all this really cool stuff that no one really knows how to do anymore. So I worked for them for their last year. We were trying to rebuild a brand. The owner was an older guy in his late 70s, smoking cigars, and he would tell me, kid, get it done. Get it done, kid. I mean, you would never guess. This guy is in the bridal business. I mean, this guy was like, what? So anyway, Martha and I would have to show him lines, and we'd do a couple of collections, and we'd bring things out, and he would nix a dress, like, no way, that's terrible. And you would be like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. And you would go to the back, and Martha's like, it's okay, Matt, it's okay. He does it all the time. So anyway, needless to say, I was laid off 3 times in that year, and I remember Mom and Dad be like, what? This is the kind of business our son is going to be in? This is ridiculous. So anyway, they closed their doors, sold it to David's Bridal. I'll never forget the day. Martha said, take the patterns, Matthew. I have my original patterns from Galena, which is so cool. David's Bridal moved into our space on 260 West 37th, I believe, or 39th. And then I was on my own again. And that's when that summer I worked for Waters & Waters. Everybody, I'm sure if any of you women in here have been in weddings, you probably wore a Waters & Waters bridesmaid dress. So I did bridesmaids, I launched their bridal line, I did Casablanca, and then in 2002, that fall or that spring, my parents I came home, brought a dog back from from New York to Iowa, and my dad and mom set me down and said, hey, we're going to open Matthew Christopher. We're tired of these people getting everything out of you. We're going to open Matthew Christopher. So I sat there at the dinner table. My mom made the best pot roast and like noodles and whatever, all the fabulous food that I love when I go home. So I'm sitting there. It's my birthday, and I was so excited. I have to tell you, I was full of excitement. My father said, "Well, this is going to be hard. This is going to be tough. We're going to do this on a shoestring budget." He goes, "We got to have a budget. We got to stick to it. We have to stick to it." Let me tell you, my dad learned a lot. I think he wanted to kill me and throw me out the window the next year. But the great thing is, here we are, this will be 10 years this year. I can't believe it. 10 years, 2012 collection will be Matthew Christopher's 10th year. We've had a number of people work with us. Josh Stevens that went to school with me here at Iowa State. I've had interns, Abby Lindbergh that was from here. Lou worked with us for a while. We've had all kinds of people, and now I have Jesse as my assistant. And we're very lucky. We went through the mid 2000s when things were really good, and we got rid of a lot of debt, and we built our business up, and we have a business that runs itself. And I have to tell you, that's pretty great. I feel very, very proud of that. I have a dad that was so good with me. He's taught me so much, even though sometimes we're like this. We figure it out. I mean, we really figure it out, and I'm very, very, very fortunate. So I'm going to give Jesse a little bit of talk here. Jesse came to me 2 years ago on email. She came to me over email about 10 times. I was like, this girl, who is this Jesse?
It's annoying.
No. I was like, she's persistent. So anyway, Jesse, why don't you introduce yourself,
Okay.
Talk about yourself for a minute.
I'm Jessie. I guess I should start where I began. It's actually kind of interesting. Our stories are really different, but I look back at our history, and I ran cross country and track. I was always in musical theater. I have a twin sister who is like very much a huge part of who I am, and we were both always very creative. So it was like, the twins are going to do something in the arts. What is it going to be? So it was always, my sister and I can remember like going to sleep. We were always dreaming of our dream houses. So it was either between architecture, thinking of fashion. There was medical in there too. Like I don't know, whatever. That ended up fizzling away. I just can't fathom being in school that long. But so eventually I knew that I had to narrow it down a little bit. I just had so much that I wanted to do. I think one year I did a mural, which it turned out really good, but it was completely terrible. I hated doing it. It was just so tedious. So I knew I couldn't do fine arts. I just didn't have the patience. So let's go back. Let's fast forward. I did 1 year of a regular college, decided, okay, I really want to do the arts. I've got to do it. My life isn't going to be the same if I don't do it. So I went to an art school, much like yours, in Tampa, and I studied fashion. So, and I will say, like, first of all, congratulations on your fashion show is amazing. I just saw the run through, but you guys truly put on such an amazing show.
Congratulations.
It's so advanced. It really is.
I have never seen it in CY Stevens. We used to do it at McKay Hall, and you guys have really taken this program to another place. I'm really, really proud of you, and I was talking to a few of the teachers today, and it sounds like the program has doubled from when I was here, so that is fantastic. Go ahead.
So, and just saying that, my school, I don't feel like I got near as much direction. I certainly was not prepared or not aware of the dues that I would have to pay to get to where I'm at right now. If someone had told me, I probably would have said, okay, I'm doing architecture, or something else, whatever it was. So, but anyway, so I graduated, and I was hoping I'd get a job, but then, okay, maybe I'll take one internship. So I take my first internship, my parents are like, you're getting paid, right? No, not really. So I took my first unpaid internship with Rachel Roy. I then took another internship with James Coviello. Again, did not lead to a job because nobody was hiring at the time. And then I took another internship with TWE, all ready-to-wear companies. So I had a lot of ready-to-wear experience, a lot of errand running and tax filing. I was really good at that after a few years. But anyway, so all the meanwhile, I'm like annoying him, like, remember me? Sending him pictures and things like that.
I'm like, who is this girl? Oh my God.
And finally, he responded to one of my many, many phone calls and emails. And it's kind of right before you dressed Kristen Chenoweth for the Emmys, we started doing a project where I illustrated one of his gowns, and she ended up choosing one of the gowns and wearing it, which it's actually right there on the website.
Yeah.
So that was a huge accomplishment for him.
Let's pull it up. Should we pull it up?
Yeah.
Let's look at it. There she is.
The original gown was called Sasha. So this is a short version of
This
Sasha.
is Sasha, short mini. I mean, if anybody knows Kristen Chenoweth, who I say, well, Galinda from Wicked, she's pretty fabulous. She's a peanut, tiny, tiny thing. The dress came in all finished. I'm talking like this big. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, how's this going to cover? I went up to Jesse. Jesse, I don't know if this is going to fit you either.
Doesn't fit me.
But yes, that's when you started working for me.
That's about when it was. So that was really exciting for me. And soon after, I started a blog for Matthew Christopher, which right now in my life, I really feel like I get to do so much of what I want to do. I get to be the writer I always wanted to be. It's silly, but a blog is such a fun way, and we're both just so ridiculous together. If you read our blogs, they're just so silly, but we have a lot of fun with it. So I get to do that, and I think we're really gonna grow from here.
Yeah,
Really
I'm really excited. I haven't had an assistant like Jessie that's her age and that's came in very, very ready to learn and ready to do things, and she's really learned a lot and brought a lot to my business, and I'm really, really proud of her. We're working on all kinds of things. I'm getting her out there at trunk shows and all that kind of stuff, and I'm working on a new collection for the fall. Hopefully, we try all kinds of things to break into new markets. This fall, we're going to try to go with another line with a different price point, with a different kind of fabrication, to see if we can break into that $2,500 to $2,000 girl, so we can break into that market. We'll see. And I've kind of given Jessie that rope. Go for it. Try it. Because when I was at Galena, they gave me Bouquet, and their Bouquet line had never done so well, which was their moderate line, when I did it. So that I feel kind of like I'm passing the torch on and going, why don't you try that price point?
I got it.
You can start. I kind of have champagne taste when it comes to making these gowns. Believe me. The year that we made the $7,000 diamond dress, I think my dad wanted to hang me in the barn. But anyway, it's serious. But anyway, the great thing is, the design process of making a wedding gown is so interesting for myself. I get ideas from all kinds of things. And as the years have gone on, my ideas, I have to really sit down anymore, and I have to take the time to be a designer because I'm a businessman now. And that's one of the most important things. And if there's any students out here, you need to know that the most important thing in this business is you have to sell. You have to know how to sell your product, promote your product, and market your product. And I know that sounds like boom, boom, boom. But one of my marketing techniques is, as you see, my ad campaigns. My dad said, you need to be in your ad campaigns, and you're going to be in every one of them, because you are the face and the brand of this company. So I have about 10 years up here yet, so we got some fun stuff stored up for you. I can't wait for you to see it. I can't wait to do it. But anyway, designing is inspiration from architecture, inspiration from organic things, inspiration, I was talking to a few classes today, inspiration from ready-to-wear. Ready-to-wear is so cool. You look at some of the couture things that are made overseas in Europe during the couture shows, and they're amazing. And you can translate some of those little pieces into a wedding gown. And this is my little secret someone else taught me, and now I want to pass it along to any of you, because it was ingrained in my head since the day I heard it. The designer at Demetrius was Christina Fortin, and she was this wonderful Italian woman, amazing. And she said to me, Matthew, you know what design is? It's a third and a third and a third. She goes, it's a third of something else, it's a third of your own, and it's a third of something new. So, if you find an idea from a cool skirt or a cool whatever, an embroidery or whatever, go off of that, because you never know what can happen. So that's kind of how that design process works. Yeah, actually, we started the 2012 collection
weeks ago.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, and we actually take our little blog camera with us now, which is fun. And I took Jesse to Bergdorf's, which I said, Jesse, just walk around like you own this place. So we did. We went and looked at all the beautiful collections, saw some really great things, got some really nifty, neat ideas. We definitely, when it comes to trends in the bridal business, we definitely are the trendsetters. We're trying to move things away from pickups and ruching and all the things that are going on right now. Bridal has gone through so many transformations in the last, 20 years. But we're working our way towards a new kind of newfound things. So anyway, I want to show you just a little bit so you know, so you see. We have our collections on here. We have 2011 through 2006. I can actually, let's see what I can do. See if I can pull up this. We have Delphine there, Elle. This is the same model we've been using, Dahlia. The Dahlia is one of my new top-selling dresses. I hope you know. It's the most beautiful dress. We love it. This is Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue gets married. Going to the chapel. My good friend Julie Muslik, her mother actually, and her family's from here. And she names all the gowns. Felicity, Bryony, they still won't take my head out of the picture. I don't know why. But anyway.
We've asked like 50 times.
We've asked our web guy. I understand creative people, okay? But get the job done, please. Anyway. Beautiful. But you can see where we're at. You know, this is 2011. We go back to 2010. Sasha, which is the dress we did in blue, which is one of my top sellers. I love that dress. You know, we go through these lines. You can kind of see my progression and change as a designer. This is the dress that my dad wanted to, choke me for. Anyway, it was gorgeous. This dress, Lalique, is one of my top-selling dresses I ever did. It's amazing. That's the dress that's over in, the gallery. Thank you very much, ladies. And this was a beautiful year. This was the year that everybody said I went avant-garde. I went different. I definitely went different. You want me to slow down? I'll slow down for you. There we got Claire de Lune. They're beautiful. I mean, they really are. We go back in time to 2008. This is, I think, when I really started to transform as a designer. Nocturne, Radiance, Metropolitan, Masquerade, which I'd never sold a one of those. Can you believe that? The Moet, we sold how many, Mom? A ton. A lot. A few hundred of those dresses. You can see why. It's beautiful. I mean, a lot of brides are going to go for that trumpet, beautiful silk satin organza, frothy hem, with this gorgeous kind of architectural details. Notice I'm describing the dress very good, because that's all I do all day long. So even when you're talking to a bride and trying to have her help her buy a gown, you need to talk to her like that. I try to tell her everything. But we have Moet, again, Astor, never sold one, I about cried, whatever. And Imagine, which was one of the coolest dresses. This dress we did really well too. It's very cool. Anyway, 2008, 2007, this is the year that I made the Josephine. The Josephine is the dress I actually did that was in the movie called You Again this fall. It's how we met Kristen Chenoweth. And it's coming up somewhere in here. There she is. And my mom said that dress is going to be something special. And it was actually a dress I almost nixed and cut off the line and was like, no. And we actually made it happen, and it actually ended up being a great dress. But we go back to 2006, and this is actually my cousin Allison Steenhart. We were at the Martha Stewart building. If you can see Manhattan in the back of the skyline. But you can kind of see how through the years I've grown and changed. And Roman Holiday was our other dress. This dress paid all the bills. That dress right there paid all the bills. But anyway, we really, really thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited. I hope all of you students really understand and know you've got to keep that fire lit under yourself. Know what you want to do with your life and get out there and make it happen. And I think we're going to do questions right now. Are we going to do questions, Lindsay?
Yeah, so okay. If you want to raise your hand if anyone has a question, and I'll bring the mic to you.
Does
anybody want to start?
Now.
No questions?
Everybody-
Anybody?
No? There's one. Ta-da!
I was looking at your dresses before now and stuff. I was wondering, have you ever thought of putting more culture, different cultures into your dresses, like Indian and Japanese and Korean and Vietnamese, and just, kind of...
Like the way that they're made, like the style themselves?
Yes, the styles and maybe some of the silhouettes, and I know some of those have like
a
sleeves
sari or
and-
something like that?
Yeah, just kind of incorporating some of that, because I would think that there's a lot of people out there that have those type of cultural tradition type things, and would don't go as much, I guess, American style dress.
Right,
and-
right. Well, you know what? I have a good explanation for this. I kind of leave that where that is because that's what they're good at. People that are great at making saris should make saris. Like, we were the fashion editors at the bridal magazine, such as Martha Stewart, and one of my favorite fashion editors, Martine Nadez, was the Modern Bride editor. She said, Matthew, the United States bridal designers are the best bridal designers in the world. And that's because we come up, overseas and over in Europe, it's all kind of the same, and we're known to kind of go outside the box. But how I can wrap this up for you is I have a lot of brides where we incorporate things. We do changes for them. I had a bride that purchased one of my gowns. She's kind of having an Indian ceremony, and she's going to do henna and cool bracelets with her dress, but she still wanted that kind of Western style, which our wedding gowns are. So I guess that's my answer.
Would you say it's easier to start a business now than when you were trying to start it 10 years ago with all the technological advances and stuff?
Wow. Wow. I would say it could probably be, there could be some easier things because of social media, because you could advertise in a lot of different ways without having to spend a ton of money. You know what I'm saying? We spend money in Martha Stewart weddings. You know what I mean? We do magazine print, that kind of thing. I would say the economy has made it harder for people to start a business, but don't let it scare you. Don't let it scare you. Don't let anything scare you. You know what I mean? Have the drive, believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, have the drive and have the talent behind it and know that you can do it and really make it happen and put it out there great, then you can build a business.
You said you had someone else name your dresses.
Yeah.
So do you have a list that she gives you, and you just kind of pick where you think it would go best, or how?
Yeah,
do you do that?
actually, the list is getting shorter and shorter because there's 10 years worth. We're we've done that name already. Oh, we need to go look at another. We need to go look at French names or whatever, names of princesses or. Yes, she actually. We work back and forth on email, and that's how it happens. So. More questions?
What do you see as the newer trends coming up in the years to come?
In bridal?
Yes.
Well, I would say right now, for the last few years, it's different. The demographics of all of you women across the country are so different. Are so uniquely different. The New York bride versus the California bride versus the Texas bride versus the Midwest bride are so different. Right now, some brides are just now catching on to the trumpet. And the trumpets, I've been doing that trumpet, rocking that trumpet since 2008. And they're just now catching that trend. So if you notice, if any of you guys say yes, if you watch Say Yes to the Dress, which I know some of you people do, okay? Because I know people are addicted to that. Sit there. I'm like, that is my life. I want to shoot myself sometimes. Anyway, just buy it. Anyway, the trend has been ruching, pickup skirts, the kind of fitted trumpet. You know what? I don't know. We've been trying to bring ball gown back. We'll do, like I said, the year I did Josephine, I was talking to the design class, and I said, there's something about us designers. I don't know what happens. I know it's a God thing. Love it. But anyway, we all ended up doing on-pier dresses that were very ethereal. We're talking Remakra, Amsala, me. There was probably 5 of us that year, and all the stores were like, how did you guys know? We didn't talk to each other. There just happens to be something that kind of goes zzz, zzz, and we all kind of do it. So who knows what we'll do this year? You know, people are still loving lace. You know, lace. Some people are scared of lace. Some people love lace. Like the North Carolina girl, she's like, I want a lace dress with a sash. I'm like, okay. How many of those can we sell? Anyway, yes, that's my answer.
I've noticed that J. Crew and Anthropologie stores that just sell clothing have started to bring bridal to their stores.
Yeah.
So has that made the industry a lot more competitive?
Oh, heck yeah. But that bride that is buying a Matthew Christopher is not that bride. You know, the J. Crew bride is different. The Matthew Christopher bride, the bride that wants the experience to go into a boutique, into a salon, they want service. They want it to be fitted. They want to go through alteration process. They want to go through the whole thing. I think that bride is going to go buy their dress and just take it. And now we have Costco doing wedding gowns. Shoot me. Oh. We have David's Bridal that just Vera went to, but she was probably smart. Vera had a hard time making money. She made her money at her couture salon in New York, which is the most gorgeous place. I held Grace Adler's dress from her wedding, the wedding on Will and Grace that she wore. She's like this big. I held that dress. I'll never forget that. But, you know, the industry is definitely growing with people that want to be bridal gown designers and businesses that want to do it and get on the bridal bandwagon. But I think eventually one day it's going to go, and, you know, it'll weed itself out. Everything does. Everything works itself out in time. Anyway, more questions? There's one second.
I actually used to work at David's Bridal. I
You
worked
did?
at 2 different bridal shops.
Yeah.
So I know all those designers you're talking about, but one thing we always had problems with when I was working there was finding mother's gowns.
Yes.
And there's the huge, I don't know if there still is a huge need for that. I don't work at David's anymore, but
You know what? The mothers are so... I tried it, didn't I, Mom? I'm like, you know what? I'm just good at making a wedding gown. I'm good at making a wedding gown that can translate into a red carpet. I tried to do mothers. I don't know what happened, but it just didn't work. I was like, I didn't get this off the ground. But yes, there's a need. There are people I know that are starting some new, fresh things. Be looking out for. You know, I know, my ears to the pavement. I know what's going on in the business, but it is a need. Yes.
and I almost got one of your gowns 4 years ago.
You did? Where'd you go?
Perry.
You
to the
did.
bridal.
What dress? Do you remember which one you tried on?
One of them was up there. The last one, I think you.
The
showed.
Roman Holiday with the.
Yes.
Oh,
I think
cool,
so.
cool.
But I'm sorry, I didn't buy it.
Oh, I'm gonna. Okay, that's okay. You got to try it on. Right here in the coral shirt.
You mentioned how Vera Wang dropped to David's Bridal, and I know that you said you were mentioning going to a moderate price. Does that like cheapen your brand, do you think, or do you think that's an okay thing?
No, you know what? As long as you're, we know that our couture dresses are our bread and butter for our company. I think we're just trying to reach. You always want to do better. You know what? I'm never happy. Seriously, I think at 35 now. I'm 35. I think I'm happier than I've been in my whole life. But you're always striving, man. I want to be better. I want to go. And I think it's chasing you all the time. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying something new to try to see what can happen. But yes, I think the Vera Wang thing, yeah, everybody can say she's wearing a Vera Wang. I think it's definitely lessened her brand. I think it's going to change her couture buyer. But hey, she made that decision, and good for her. She inspired me when she did Nancy Kerrigan's skating outfit years ago. And that was so long ago.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you look in ready-to-wear, like all these designers that like are designing for Target, I don't really think that it cheapens them. I mean, your couture line is always going to speak for itself. I just think that in this economy, being like a smart business person is also adjusting to, what's going on around you and providing for more clients. And the more your name is out there, the more it's recognized. So I guess that's the other end of the spectrum. But
yep. Any other questions?
I have two questions. Where are your gowns made? And then do people try to copy your work, and then what do you do about that?
I call my mother and I call Lou and I go, ah! Are you kidding me? I go, oh, I'll never forget. Okay, yes, we make our dresses in China. We get our fabrics from Italy and France. When I decided to do production over there, I knew that I could make, you saw some of the work on these gowns in the photographs. I knew that I could do every imaginable thing I ever wanted to do because their skill set was so amazing. I've never found a skill set so good. We have to keep on top of it. I mean, sometimes you can be like, what? Were you eating a hamburger on this? Something weird will happen. You'll get a dress in. It will have some weird thing. Somebody wiped their nose on it or something. You're like, did this really just happen? But I have to keep on top of my production, but it's like the best. And now I have to say China, something for all the students to know. China now is really matching price to the United States. We're now becoming two strong places, but I still think production overseas is going to stay because it's very hard to find the skill of that kind of some of the bias work and the beading and stuff here in the United States. And what was your other question, ma'am?
like copying.
Copying my work. The first copy dress I ever did was from Galena. I didn't do, but someone copied me. Was this dress I did with the belt, the exact thing. I went through market when I was a kid, and Forever Yours probably copied 3 or 4 of my gowns, and my dad said, it's flattery. Let them chase you. You had another one in your head. You'll be fine. So yeah, it does. There's a nudge. There's definitely a nudge, like a fly flying around me when I see that, but I try to let it go. But anyway, yeah. Thank you.
And sometimes people are trying to imitate at a lower price point. Remember diamonds last week?
Oh yeah, we had a girl that bought a mat. She wanted the diamond dress, the $7,000 dress. She bought it online for $340. Let me tell you how ugly it was.
So bad. So bad.
She called us. She's like, oh my God, Matthew, I'm so sorry. I should have really just spent the money and I did this and look at it. It's terrible. She emailed it to us and just,
the picture was horrible. It was
we were like, oh. We were giggling, but whatever. Yeah.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions.
I've noticed that color is becoming really popular in the bridal industry. Like my sister-in-law's dress had, like big pink thing down the back.
Yeah.
Have you thought about moving into doing colored accents or colored wedding dresses?
Yes, I let Jesse do a sash collection this year. And if you notice, there's a black sash and a black hat. So just that for me is like the color direction I will go. But yes, that has been kind of like it's an ongoing thing. Like one year I did like this it was like a taupe color, the lace dress, remember that? And we're like, I never sold one. So I was like, whatever. But yes, it is definitely a trend. And it comes and goes.
When you first started making your gowns, did you do it by yourself, like by hand, like all the stitching and everything?
Oh yeah, and I went to Lou and I'd go, I messed up. Oh my God. How are we going to fit my cousin? Her boob's falling out.
When were you finally able to move your production to China?
What did you say? Say that again?
When were you finally able to move your production to China?
I did, so I worked in the workrooms. Like, when I first made the gowns, you have to understand, I was making those gowns when I was in college, when I had my own little custom business. But when I moved into the business, the industry, we had sewers that did that. I would work with the pattern makers. I would kind of drape with them and do that. There was people that had that skill that could move forward and do better work than I could sewing, right? And I was a good sewer. I became a very, very, very good sewer. But yes, I moved production immediately. Like when I started Matthew Christopher, we started overseas. So.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. If you want to see these garments on the runway, come tomorrow or Saturday night at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6 for the exhibit. And his 2011 collection will be on the runway.
Yep.
So.
Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you very much.